is, I want to use the term mining, or if you like, what is now the buzzword galamsey. And then also, there's no day. In fact, there's no day in Ghana. I'm sure by course of today, if you are monitoring every TV station, whether the local languages or
the English language,
you cannot, the day cannot end without two things being discussed: mining and election matters.
That's right.
And
so what's your title?
Oh, Nana Berma Ayisi.
Okay. Berma
Ayisi. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Berma Ayisi, also known in
private life as Martin
Ayisi.
Quite a tough job,
I can imagine. But may God grant
it's
you
humbling,
grace.
you know. There's one thing I just discovered. Once you are a chief, then the assumption is that you must solve all problems.
But I guess it's probably also because typically the chiefs are representatives of Nananum.
Yes, but
so we believe that you have direct access to all the answers.
Now I understand the kind of things the chiefs go through. It's not easy.
It isn't. Wow.
It's not easy.
Good. Well, let's switch to Mincom matters. I know, as you mentioned, that the Mining Commission of Ghana has been in the spotlight lately. And but we've learned that, in your commitment to enhance the management and regulation of the sector, you've undertaken some strategic capacity building initiatives that are aimed at improving operational efficiency, that bring about improved sustainability and governance. Could you share with us, broadly, what the main objectives of the capacity building initiatives have been at Mincom?
I have a way of approaching this matter when it comes to capacity building issue. And I normally start with my favorite story or examples. Once I set the scene with that, then you can understand the kind of tax and the enormity, the sheer enormity of the issues we have to deal with. We have multinationals or conglomerates that, if you like, if you put, I think, two or so of them together, it's more than our GDP. For example, I just checked the market cap of China's Xinjiang. Those who the announcement has finally come through now that they are going to take over
from the new Montachin mine. Yeah,
that's our 60 billion. 60 billion. If you look at a company like Newmont, their market cap is more than half of our GDP. Now, look at the kind of players in Ghana. Newmont Mining Corporation. The company has been around for over 100 years. But in Ghana, they've been here since 2003. At least throughout my entire life at Mincom. I know them. I'm used to them. Newmont is the biggest producer of gold in the entire world. In the entire world. That's number one. They have two operations because the sale at Achim is not yet concluded.
Okay.
As I speak right now in this studio, they are building a third mine. It's one of the largest gold mines being constructed. We want to call it a Ahafo North because it's just about 30 kilometers north of their current Ahafo operation.
Okay.
So if they were not planning to sell this, next year by June, July, they will have having 3 big operations. Now, their current operation, which is Ahafo South, is a combination of an open pit. They started first with an open pit, like surface mining, and then they went underground. Okay. So they do the two. This year, the figures I am seeing, they may be close to doing something close to about 800,000 ounces.
Okay.
The price of gold has been more than 2,000 this year. So you can see the kind of money we're talking about. Even if you use 2,000, that's about $1.56 billion.
That's right.
I mean, if you want to say the list. And next year, it will become the biggest gold mine in Africa. And perhaps one of the top 5 in the world.
Okay.
That is one. Take Goldfields, also a huge conglomerate. They are all over the place. Goldfields is in Australia, they are in Ghana, they are in North America, etc. They have about 9, if you like, operations, including projects. The biggest of their portfolio, the famous Takwa mine. Takwa, until recently, is the biggest gold mine in Ghana, but it's now number 2. At least it does over 200. It does over 500,000 ounces a year. Last year they did about 530 something. They will do the same thing this year. Receipts this year from Takwa will be over $1 billion. And Goldfields operate 2 mines. That's one, and then the one at Aboso. Then come to think of the famous Anglo Ashanti. They run by far the deepest mine in Ghana, Obuasi, which has been in operation since 1897. That's about 127 or so years. And then they have another one, Iduapim, which shares, I don't want to use the word border, or they share the same, they are just,
they're very close.
Very, very close. That's why they are seeking to combine the assets. So you have the likes of Goldfields, okay, big multinational. You have the likes of Anglo Ashanti. You have the likes of Newmont. Then the Chinese have entered the fray. I mean, look at the kind of money they are just paying for Achin. So these are the kind of players that we have in the country. But let me circle back to my famous example. So Newmont Mining Corporation, headquarters in US, went to Australia. Now the biggest gold mining company for gold in Australia used to be a company called Newcrest. Now Newmont has bought Newcrest. They bought it for last year for an amount that is $200 million more than our entire export for last year. Listen carefully. So that's where the argument starts. That's why today I said I'll spend time on capacity building. Okay? That's about $13.8 billion or so dollars. That's how much it cost them to buy Newcrest of Australia, which is now part of the Newmont portfolio. So they are quite big in Australia now. Our total export last year, according to Bank of Ghana, 13.6, thereabouts. At least, when I did the math, it was 200 million more than the entire export of this country. Now, my brother, if you have such a company operating in Ghana, but for this sale, but for the Achim sale, they will have had 3 big mining companies, gold mines in Ghana. And at least a quarter or so of their entire production in the world will come from Ghana. But whatever the case is, both Achim Ahafo North and South, those two, that corridor, that 30-kilometer corridor, will give us not less than 1 million ounces a year. Do you understand that? If the price of gold stays like that next year, you're talking about $2 billion. Now, you go underground, and the kind of, maybe next time I'll come and show you videos and pictures of things underground. The kind of electrical installations you see underground, the ventilation system, and then their tailings dam, machinery, and all those things that I'm talking about. In fact, Ahafo North is costing them at least $1 billion to build. The one that will be commissioned in middle of next year.
Okay.
My brother, what it means is that if these billions we are mentioning that are being used to build mines, and that is what the regulator is supposed to go there and ensure that accidents don't happen, that the companies operate in a manner that they are not only a danger to the workers there, but also they will not become a danger to the community, okay, that people don't die etc. It means that at worst, the quality of staff that you have should be able to match all the various categories of engineers, whether they are mine surveyors, they are mechanical engineers, they are mining engineers, whatever, at the mine. That's the bottom line. So in discussing capacity building, I want to take it from that angle. I'll discuss about 4 issues. 1, staff, training, and whether we have the numbers. 2, the way we are equipping them. And 3, how well are we expanding in terms of infrastructure to be able to cope with the sudden rise in mining activities. Okay? That is 1. The first thing is that I have my data here. Since 2021, we've hired close to about 30 inspectors, 30 new inspectors. And now let me explain the meaning of an inspector. The other time when I used the word my inspector, someone was asking, are we a police or not? An inspector, I mean, just look at it ordinarily. An inspector is just a certified officer of the Minerals Commission whose duty is to conduct inspections at the mine. 1, to ensure that the mines are operating according to the health and safety regulations.
Okay.
The whole idea is to prevent accidents, that the mine is safe, that will not have a collapse, that people will not get killed. Okay? Basically, that's what we'll do. So there are all kinds of facilities at the mine. So it means that you have to have inspectors to cover all the various aspects. So for instance, okay, today we'll deal with capacity building and who is an inspector. So, for instance, if you go to a typical mine, even whether it's small scale or large scale, you find a lot of machinery, a lot of installation there. So that tells you that you need mechanical engineers. Do you understand that? Mechanical engineers. So you have an inspector machinery. That's 1. I mean, you can do mechanical engineering at KNUST or our famous specialized university, UMAT. So you need mechanical engineers. Train them as inspectors. Now, you also need inspectors who will be at the processing plant. At the processing plant. Today, I want us to discuss who is an inspector and the kind of qualifications we require. And if there is time, we'll top it up with whether or not we have the quality or we are up to the task. So that's mechanical engineering. Number 2, the processing plant. Your processing plant is everything. It's like your toilet in your house. No matter if you don't have a toilet in the house, what it simply means is you have to go outside. So the processing plant, where when they do blast, they load and haul, they bring everything to the processing plant where everything is done. So you need all kinds of people to work there. What comes readily into mind is metallurgists. So you need metallurgical engineers. Okay. Now, what are the kind of people who can train as metallurgists? You can do chemical engineering. Sometimes they call them processors, or you can study metallurgical engineering. Metallurgical engineering is offered at KNUST. It's also offered, I think, at UMAT. And then chemical engineering, UMAT too has started. So a chemical engineer can train as a metallurgist. They work. And some of the metallurgists also work in the lab. So sometimes you see people being referred to as lab metallurgists and a plant metallurgist. Some even work at the tailings dam. So it means that Mincom too has hired a lot of metallurgists, okay, to work at inspector, metallurgists. That's it. Then apart from that, you have mining engineers. I mean, that is everything. That's our DNA. And the mining engineers can train for various things, okay? Those into mine planning, those who do the mining proper, and then even those who are trained as ventilation engineers and all those things. They also do all kinds of things. For them, they can train. And you need geotech guys. Those who do geological engineering, because you see, everything is about slope and collapse to make sure that the pit design, all those things. There are no cave-ins, and then everything is okay. Even the tailings dam and all those things. If there is too much water, you don't have a collapse, whatever. So geotechnical engineers are one of the most sought after engineers in the mining sector. How do you train them? There's a program called geological engineering. Okay, you can do it at KNUST or you can do it at UMAT. Now, geological engineers can be trained as geotech guys, or the mining engineers themselves can train as geotech. So you learn on the job. You can also go out for courses. So, for instance, Cantonment School of Mines in UK, they have an MSc program in geotechnical engineering for 1 year. We have some of our guys there. So you need geotech guys. And then, what most people don't know, you also need civil engineers. Civil engineers can also train as geotech guys. In fact, they are the civil engineering is nothing but, geotech is nothing but civil. So the miners also hire civil engineers and train them as geotech.
That's right.
So you need geotechnical engineers, you need civil engineers, you need chemical engineers, you need metallurgical engineers. Even these days, UMAT has introduced another course called Health and Safety Engineering. Yes, so they are also needed. And then guess what? Some people also can study chemistry and later on do metallurgical engineering. They even tend to be better. If you take chemistry, you can also work in the lab. There's also environmental engineering. You know, the miners also take them to do all kinds of stuff. So by and large, these are the basic engineering programs that the miners need. And they also need those at Poly too. You know, these programs are done at Poly, and the technicians. And in fact, those guys even tend to be better. That is it. Now, so that broadly, these are the kind of areas that we need. Now, you cannot just get up and start operating a machinery or what do you call it, an equipment, or just go underground and start occupying certain roles.
Okay.
You need to be certified. So let me just explain it in this ordinary language. For example, you cannot just get up and become an army commander. Do you understand that? Hey, you need to go through certain kinds of training and competencies and skills, and even be at a certain rank. You can't appoint a colonel as an army commander. You understand? Hey. So you have to have some kind of training, some kind of knowledge, skills, and be at a certain rank before you can become an army commander. The same thing, I believe, Air Force Commander, CDS, Plan 2, the same thing. You can't just get up and become an IGP.
There's a process.
So, if you need people to run the mine, at certain roles and certain categories, you have to have certain certification. So, the mere possession of, let's say, a degree in mining engineering or mechanical engineering is not sufficient. You start, you get employed at the mine. But then, after some number of years and having undergone some kind of training and learned certain things, you need to the company needs to present you to Minerals Commission for it to take certain kinds of exams to be certified. So they have blastman, foreman, mine captain, etc., all the way to mine manager. So when you hear somebody is the manager of a mine, it means he holds a mine manager certificate. My brother, the person has gone through a lot. He must have a mine captain certification, a mine foreman, and it requires some number of years, some level of skill, and having passed the exams. Do you understand that? It's like before you can get to the Supreme Court, you must have done a minimum of 15 years? I think it's 12 years for, I'm a lawyer, so I know 12 years for Court of Appeal, 10 years for a High Court. And then you must be good, and you understand that? You can't just because you're a lawyer. You
can't just be called to the bar and make your way to the bench.
Or you're a lawyer 20 years and they say, Supreme Court, you must have some kind of knowledge and competency. It's the same thing here.
Okay.
So it is not as, business as usual. And even, let me say this, if you have a mine manager certificate and you don't have that for underground, it means that you could have worked in a mine like 15 years.
But
you might have done open pit all your life. So let's say you have been a Takwa mine for the past 20 years. Okay? You've taken all the examination, all the certification, you've risen to become, you hold a mine manager certificate, and you are now the manager of the mine. If you don't have underground, there's no way the Chief Inspector of Mines, for that matter, Minerals Commission, will certify you, for example, to become the mine manager for Wasta, which is underground.
Okay.
Or Boasi. So by and large, that is it. So in brief, these are the technical and engineering skills that we require to repeat chemical engineering, whether at Poly the HND or the degree, mining engineering, metallurgical, mechanical, health and safety, environmental engineering, and even some of the physical sciences to be taken, like chemistry, like this. They can hire them and they can work in the lab. So broadly, and then those who have also done geological engineering, they can train them as geologists or they can train them as geotech. That is it. But my brother, before we come to whether or not we have all these people in Minerals Commission, and whether we meet the standards and we can match the companies, the interesting thing is that you can also switch. So, for example, you can do mechanical engineering, you can do civil engineering, you can do geological engineering, and do a postgraduate studies in mining engineering. They even tend to be better. So you can have somebody who can be employed with his civil engineering degree or HND degree. Okay, he'll be trained as a geotech in a mine. After some number of years, he can go and do the masters, let's say 2 years, in mining engineering. Okay, so sometimes when I hear people saying, oh, I applied for mining engineer, I didn't get it, they gave me geomatic. I said, no, go and do it, you know. And then one more thing, we also take geomatic engineers, both at the mine and then also at Mincom. So the geomatic engineers tend to work as mine surveyors. So geomatic engineering, they take them a lot. So broadly, these are the skills. So my brother, you realize that if you are not into the engineering and these technical areas, mining is not for you. That is why I keep saying that if we want to deal with unemployment, technical skills and engineering, so-called STEM, is the way to go. I have not mentioned history. I have not mentioned sociology, geography, and all those things. I'm not saying those things are not needed. But you see, if you compare us to the Asians and the Koreans, if you take like 10 engineers or technicians, then they have one social scientist. Our own is a reverse. I stand to be corrected, but I want to believe that now we may even have more guys doing humanities in KNUST than the sciences. I'm sure. That's why we have to keep human the way it is. Let us keep it as our Imperial College or our MIT. So, broadly, that is it. Now, let's come to Mincom. But before that, our engineers in the mining sector, I want you to listen carefully. Our engineers in the mining sector, perhaps those who have read mining engineering, geology, and metallurgical, and the other ones, are some of the best in the world. I didn't say Africa. So it means I've gone beyond Africa. Let me repeat. Ghanaian mining engineers and geoscientists are some of the best and the finest in the world. You ask me why? Because since 1897, we've been doing mining. So we have it. Okay? Like, I want to believe that Nigerian petroleum engineers are some of the finest in the world because they've been at it
for a long time. Yeah.
So you go to Australia, there are several Ghanaians who are studying there, who are working there. You go to Canada. So let me tell you where the Ghanaians are. You find them in Australia, a lot of them. That's their the most common place, especially in Western Australia. You find them in South Africa. You find a lot of them in Canada. You find a lot of them in US. Then practically every African country where mining is going on, you find Ghanaians. So there are a lot of them in Tanzania. You find them in Guinea. You find them in Mali, etc. And they come back all the time. A lot of them are also in our, what do you call it, database now. So that is it. Now, do we have all this expertise at Mincom? My answer is yes. I've just told you the number of people we've had.
Who have had to travel and study, and the ones that are all here as well.
So we have them. And now people are even leaving their mines and joining Mincom because they are tired with mine life. And I'll tell you the kind of thing we are doing. As we speak, we have about 10 Minerals Commission engineers studying in Australia alone. As we speak, 10 in Australia. Then we have about 3 in Canada. And then we have about 12 in US. Out of the 12, 2 have returned. And then we have, so they are in Australia, they are in US, they are in Canada, and then also they are in the UK. That's number 1. Number 2, we take them to the best mining engineering schools in the world.
Okay.
I'm just speaking to the quality of our staff and everything that we are doing to match the Newmont, the Goldfields and Co., if not better. So we take them to the best. So, for example, Colorado School of Mines is the best mining engineering school in the world. Guess what? We have about 5 people there. One lady just came back this July. Okay? That's where they are. You go to a place like Australia. I mean, Australia is a very big country. Some people even call it continent. So there's a place called Western Australia, which is the largest mining hub in the entire world. They have some prominent mining engineering schools, the University of Western Australia and Curtin. Curtin is the best in Australia and number 2 in the world. That's where I said I have about 10 there. So that is by way of advanced training. Now the question people ask is that, why are you not taking them to UMass and you're taking them to Australia, Canada, US and Co? 3 reasons, my brother. All of them went to the UMass, KNUST for the first degree, and they started working either straight at Mincom or at the mines, and they joined us. But some of these advanced technology and training is not available in some of these. I mean, you can compare the lab at UMass. It's not that they are building their labs and all those things. So some of these new ideas and this technology, even some of the software, is not available here. Okay. So we have to take our people outside to go and learn them. That's number 1. And
so this is all a part of the capacity building?
It's all part of the capacity building, and we spend, government has given us a lot of money to do that.
So number 1, we don't have everything.
We don't have some of the expertise here.
So it requires
so we have to take them out. Okay. And that's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, some of the new technology and new ideas are not available locally.
Okay.
So then you have to take them out. And then number 3, and most importantly, some of the things are also new to us. So, for example, there's no lithium mine in Ghana. There's no lithium mine in Ghana, okay? We are about to build one. We're just waiting that if Parliament comes, they'll do the ratification. They've got all their permits now.
Okay.
Environmental, the operating permit, they have the license, everything. Now, but you're going to, and the mine, if construction starts, let's say, end of this year or early next year, it will take like roughly 4 months, okay? Let's say 2 years. Yes, mining is mining, but there's a little bit of difference, okay? So Australia, for example, produces about half of the world's lithium, okay? There's an area called Green Bushes, they are all over the place. So I need to take the Minerals Commission inspectors there to not just go and study and work there. Now, we have introduced something that I don't, maybe it's only the medical service that you have it in Ghana. And even the medical one, let me hazard and say that is, it just have to happen that way. So, for instance, if you want to take a specialist out for training, the specialization is done in the hospital. Do you understand that? I mean, he will have to, if you're going to, it has to be done in a hospital. Okay? You don't do it in a classroom. I mean, you'll be taught, but you're specializing. Okay. So, this is what we are doing, and I'm sure it's not common. Now, when we take you, before that, we have scholarships. So we get scholarships from some of these schools. We have an arrangement. Some of them have offered a scholarship. Some are 100%, some are 75%, some are 50%, some are 25%. So the ones that are not 100%, we pay the difference. Some, they can give you full tuition. Then they say, no, we will not give you living expenses. We'll cover that. Okay. Some are 100%. So there's a guy, for example, a young guy, 26 years. He had a first class in metallurgical engineering. He had a 100% scholarship. He's in Australia doing 2 years research on lithium. Just research on lithium. Okay. So you can imagine the kind of knowledge that you come with after finishing.
And how that will benefit.
And when he finishes, he's not coming now. So I'm coming to the next one I was just about talking or discussing. When they finish, they work in the mines before they come.
Well, of course, it's pointless to learn the thing without gathering first-hand experience.
My brother, it's not just pointless. My time, it was not like that. What I came to meet at Minerals Commission, or what you see in most public institutions, is that I don't think, maximum 1 month. When you finish your program, you have to come back.
I see.
Maximum, not later than 1 month after completing your postgraduate studies, whether full scholarship or whatever you are fully sponsored, whatever, you have to come back. We have changed that. So what we do is that once you finish your training, you work in the mines for up to 3 years. Some will allow 1 year, some 2, some 3 years. I'll tell you the difference. So the senior inspectors just do 1 year and come back. The middle one, 2 years. And then the junior inspectors who are like 4 or 5 years do the 3 years. And I'll give you real examples. So as I speak to you, there's a gentleman who, we have an arrangement with a specialized mining school in US, New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology. So we took about 8 people there. So a guy who has the Tucker office went 2 years ago. He's called Bright. Then there's another lady called Sandra Donko who has the Kenyasi office. They all went the same year, completed and graduated. I'm being real. Completed in April and graduated May 9 this year. Okay. Now, the good thing about the US is that when you finish the first year, US, you go to school in August, you finish in April, May. So June, July, August, it is mandatory you go and work in the mine. So they go and work like 3 months. So Bright, for example, went to Nevada Gold Mines, which is the biggest gold complex in the world. In fact, the biggest mine in the world. Okay? About 1.37 kilometer deep. And then Sandra went to Freeport, also a huge conglomerate. And then they came and completed the second year. My brother, as we speak, Bright has a full-time job at Nevada Gold Mine. Sandra is at Freeport. Now, another lady called Harriet will complete in December this year. We have just approved for her to also go to Freeport. Then, one guy also completed mining engineering. He's also going to Nevada. So, I have 2 in Nevada and 2 in Freeport. These are middle-level inspectors. They will come in about 2-3 years' time. So, when Bright and Emmanuel comes back from the biggest gold mine in the world, they went to the best mining engineering school. They're going to stay in the biggest gold, Nevada Gold, which is owned by Newmont and Barrick, the 2 biggest gold producers in the world. In about 2-3 years, they will come back. So when someone like Bright comes back in about 2 years' time and enters Wassa Underground or enters Obuasi, which is not as deep as Nevada Gold Mines, where he's training now, or goes to El International, the one near Cardinal, or even further still goes to the monster mine Subika Underground. My brother, he's not only coming with a lot of confidence, new ideas, but also even the mine manager and then the inspectors at the mine there, they know very well that, look, these inspectors who are coming here have gone to study not only in the best mining engineering school, but they've been trained in the largest gold mines in the world. Nevada is bigger than Newmont. Okay? Nevada is about, you're talking about 3 million ounces. That's almost about, if you like, 2.5 times Ghana's production. Yeah. That is where we are taking our inspector. Now, let me give you one more example. So, the senior one. So, there's a guy called Collins Akwe. He worked in Obuasi for like 6 years and joined us and worked almost about another 4 years. So, he's like a senior inspector. He has all the certification up to mine manager, both underground and surface. Okay. He went to the best mining engineering school in Australia, Curtin, which is number 2 in the world. Completed in January. My brother, he's gotten a job at Northern Star. Northern Star is the second biggest gold mining company in Australia after Newcrest. Now Newcrest is owned by Newmont. So Akwe is working at Northern Star now, underground. He's bought his ticket. He's coming back in December. So that's what I mean by the senior inspectors doing 1 year.
And then
now he's coming. So just after the Yuletide or Xmas, he will start his job in Kumasi. So when he comes December 28th, he will spend the new year. First week in January, he's going back to Kumasi.
And then
he will be in that our new 8-story building. And he'll be responsible for an underground in Subika. Okay. So this is the quality we are giving. So it is not just an ordinary public institution or an ordinary inspector or people who have just come to university. We are giving our people world-class training. World-class training. And that's what we are doing. And as I speak to you, we have close to about 40 people studying outside from Minerals Commission. I'm not saying 40. And just about 18th August, when we commissioned the Bibiani office, the officer now in charge of Bibiani came back from Campbell School of Mines. The officer in charge of Obuasi, they came together, also came back from Campbell School of Mines. And we've sent more there this year. In fact, the guy who is in charge of Takwa office left 2 weeks ago for Campbell School of Mines to go and do the masters in geotech. So we give them new ideas, new technology, hands-on experience. So in about 3, 4, 5 years, trust me, the quality of inspectors and engineers and technical officers at Minerals Commission will be far better than those at the mines, because they are being trained in mines that even the current engineers at the mines, at Chirano Gold and Co., who would not love to work in Nevada gold mines? My brother, you know what you know what you mean for a young guy in his 30s or 40s to go and spend 3 years and work at the biggest gold mine in the world?
Lots of experience.
That's a lot of experience.
Yes, lots of experience.
And this is what the regulator is doing. We started this in 3 years, just these 3 years. My time, you see 1, 2, you go for training, So in about 3, 4 years, Nipa Bakobi, and it's wholesale. When I say wholesale, we're training mechanical engineers, we're training mining engineers, we are training ventilation engineers, we are training geotechnical engineers, we are training metallurgists. In fact, even our geomatics, we are taking them outside.
I see. So evidently there's a lot of work being done in improving the human capital that you have at Mincom. I mean, one can easily see how this will benefit the organization and the mining sector as a whole. That's unfortunately all time would allow us for today's conversation. We focused on capacity building, but I just, by way of final words, I know that there is the Ghana Landscape Restoration and Small Scale Mining Project. In 2 minutes, can you give us a sense of what the primary goals are and how far you've come under this particular?
Thank you. That landscape project covers a number of institutions.
Okay.
First, the World Bank's project. Covers Minerals Commission. Okay. Geological survey. In fact, next week, I'll arrange for Dr. Kruger to come and take one of my schedules in case I travel. So Minerals Commission, Ghana Geological Survey, EPA.
Okay.
And other institutions. By far, these are the key ones. Ourselves, Minerals Commission, the Lands Commission,
and EPA.
And the EPA.
Okay.
Many of the things that are being done under this project is not only to build our capacity in certain areas, but it's also to improve the entire mining environmental governance. So, for example, geological survey, their capacity is being built for them to be able to do their work better. Now, some of the areas they are exploring now for us to give small scale, they are doing it under the World Bank project. So last week or so, I was in Parliament and mentioning some areas that geological survey is exploring. It's all under the World Bank project.
Okay.
Some drones and other equipment that we are also acquiring to improve inspection, monitoring, and compliance.
Okay.
Is coming under the World Bank project. To be honest with you, the last stage of our digitization project, which will integrate EPA, Minerals Commission, Geological Survey, and even GRA, so that we have one integrated, seamless what do you call it, a digital platform, and we'll be talking to each other, is under this landscape project. So what it simply means is that EPA can just log into our system and check the status of licenses, and we can also do the same thing. So these are some of the things, and then some will also be used for reclamation.
Okay.
A whole lot. In fact, I'll arrange with the project coordinator.
Yeah, so we can
so
get
that we
into...
will come together, and then he can spend time to talk about it. And the project coordinator of the program happens to be the EPA boss now.
Okay.
And somebody has taken over, so he has a lot to share.
Wonderful.
And by the time the project will finish in 5 years' time, you see a lot of improvements in Minerals Commission, EPA, and the Geological Survey.
Fantastic. Well, we're super thankful to you, Mr. Martin Ayisi. Berima Kweku Ayisi, Continue of Rara.
Continue of Rara.
That's right. We're grateful for your time. And a quick comment here. Nice conversation with Mr. Ayisi. He has really changed the face of Mincom and has given youth in the commission some confidence. I worked with the Koforidua office, but now I'm schooling in the U.S. An example, Anthony Kofi Boy.
Yeah, I know him.
Great stuff. Well, we're grateful that you made time to share with us these insights, and we look forward to the next installment.
Thank you so much. And next week, I'll come and discuss the infrastructure bit.
Wonderful.
What government is also doing.
Okay.
So that our people will have the right tools, equipment, and then the right offices to work
in.
We saw the commission of Bibiani.
Of the Bibiani office.
And Akim Oda office. Watch out for Kumasi and Tamale.
Okay.
Yes.
Super.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. And that was a very important conversation. We'll be bringing you more.